Hello, it is Krystalracquel and I'm back again with another video. The topic of today is going to be something very interesting. But first, I just want to encourage you all, if you're interested in these topics, simply like below. Of course, if you're interested, you can also always send me an email to the email that I have listed in the description for any questions that you have about life, any issues you may be dealing with, anything that you feel have come up amongst your friend groups. Definitely let me know. I know I don't always talk about it a lot, but my channel is geared towards individuals who are having issues, and because I am a woman, I assume that people who are going to be interested in a lot of my videos are women, but of course men are included in the subscribers as well. So the topic for today is about thinking and, well, no, I'm not thinking. Let me scratch that. The topic of today is what you need to do before getting into a relationship, how you need to heal before finding another partner or a partner after you've gone through a breakup. What I've noticed is that a lot of people, they don't take time to heal before they find a partner. And I know men and women are different, so you can look at it from the women's perspective right now, and I can get into the men perspective a little bit later. You can always possibly apply to that as well. So let's just think, let's say there's a woman, she's in a relationship and they end up not working out. It could be that she didn't feel that was a good partner for her. It could be that the man felt that she wasn't a good fit for him, and then they end. And it also depends on how long they were together. Imagine that they were together for an extended period of time. I don't typically encourage that, and I think I've spoken about that before, and I can talk about it again in terms of what the dating process is for. I don't think I've spoken about that as a video, so I'll add that as a topic. What is the dating process for? But let's just assume they were together for a certain amount of time. Whatever that may be, you normally need to take some time, evaluate your situation, and then attempt to find someone else. A lot of times what people are doing is they are jumping from relationship to relationship. There's someone I knew at some point in my life when I was attending college. She had an appearance that made her attractive to a certain group of men. She ended up, it seemed that she was always in relationship after relationship. She was with one person, I think, for a few years prior to me getting to know her. And then when that ended, I can't remember who ended it, but I'll just say she ended it. Then from there were men there that were always looking at her. And from what I recall from those years ago, she has always been in a relationship and it has always ended. I don't know if it's she's who's ended it or not, but she has just been in a relationship back to back, and it's like there's never any real break. And it's really not good. Regardless of if you are not sleeping with them, which you should not be, whether you are or are not, it's just not good. It's not good for your health, because you're wasting your time with people who are not even going to be your husband. Do you want to end up on your wedding day and then thinking back through all the relationships, all the drama that you've been through? Of course, people can say, well, I'm so grateful I have the one now, but if you could go back in time, wouldn't you have been like, you know what, I wish I would have just stayed still for a moment and not gone through all that? Some people will say, well, those things taught me how to be ready for the person that I'm with. No, that's not true. I will tell you why. Because you spending time on your own, getting to know who you are, getting to know God, those things would have prepared you for the person that you end up with. You don't need to go through all the drama in order to find that man that's for you, or a woman if you're a man. So what I was saying about that situation is that I've seen that person has gone through so many different relationships that I'm aware of, since we first met. It's just relationship after relationship after relationship, and it all depends on what you're going to allow. So if a man finds you attractive and he's not the man for you, he will be okay with getting you pregnant, you becoming his baby mama, maybe you having several abortions for him, and so on and so forth, and not get married to. The name that just came to me, or the person that just came to mind, is krystalracquel and Blueface. I'm not sure if you all aware of that young couple. Well, they're no longer together, and now she's giving a baby. And there was an interview where I saw where she mentioned about all the abortions that she had, or that she had to go through. It's very sad, but overall, that person, obviously, well, people go through their own traumas, so obviously that young man he has gone through traumatic instances, and obviously they both need to heal. But basically the point is, if the man is not going to marry you, you will go through so many things for that person, and they will not marry you. Even if they do marry you, they're not going to treat you well. So you really need to just protect yourself, protect your mind, protect your spirit, and really evaluate what it is that you want in life. So my point is, with going in that direction, was just that you need to figure out who you are. So regardless of the time, I'll give an example of myself. Prior to me meeting my husband, my last relationship prior to that, it didn't work out well. Maybe one day when I have more time, I'll go in depth about that, but it didn't work out, and I did not immediately go ahead and try to date someone. That is not okay. That's not good. That's not helpful to you. Of course, there's always going to be a situation where by chance maybe that happens for someone, but that is not going to be the norm. So we want to keep that in mind. So after that, I took some time. I focused on myself, focused on my health, focused on working out. I gotta get back into that because I'm not where I was at that point in time. But I started working out, caring more for myself. I started eating much better, focused on myself, focused on God. I know I did a lot of prayers, fasting, and things like that, just praying for God to send me the right person into my life. I also made sure I let go of any unforgiveness in my heart. That is so important, because if you can't forgive, you're gonna be a disaster when you find a person that could have or will be the person for you. So if you can't forgive somebody, it's not gonna work. One thing that God showed me I was very consistent. If you go back to some of my earlier videos where you could probably see a weight loss in my face, I was very disciplined in terms of how I was eating, and most importantly with the exercise. I was exercising every single day, and that gave me discipline. It's so funny. It gave me discipline for marriage, and you definitely need discipline. So you want to start disciplining your mind, disciplining your heart, going back through anything you might be holding on to, if that's the case. I can't say if there was anything I was holding on to for myself, but those are just some things you need to evaluate. You're not going to be ready for the person that God has for you if you don't check yourself, prepare yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. That is so important. There's no reason why you should be hopping from relationship to relationship. And you might say, Askkrystalracquel, well, I just feel lonely. I need to have that companionship. That means you need to work on yourself. You need to be okay with being alone. That's the only way where you're going to get to know who you are, who God is. If you cannot be alone without people, there's a problem there, because I know there's people who they'll hold on to friendships, relationships because they don't want to be alone, and that's not good. Remember, you're never alone because you have God, you have Jesus Christ, and if that's how you feel, that you need to have someone there, that's even more reason why you need to take time by yourself to force yourself to be alone. And when I look back at the person I mentioned, it's not only her, there's several other people who I've seen hop from relationship to a relationship. What it shows me and what it shows people who are watching is, okay, this person, they'll be with this person for some months, maybe a year or two, and then it ends. That means that they are not learning what the issue was with the previous relationship, most likely blaming the other person for everything, when in reality what's happening is they are searching for someone who's a certain way that's not good for them, or they're not working on the issue that they have that they need to work on, and they're putting all the blame on someone else. And if they keep doing that, it's just going to be a cycle of the same thing happening. Maybe they're talking too much, revealing too much information to the point where now every single man is treating them the same way based on what they've told them, based on what the woman has told them, based on what she's revealed about herself, and she's not making it click in her mind that she needs to stop talking about whatever she's talking about. Or maybe she has an issue to where she is very clingy, and she's clingy in every relationship, but in reality she's clinging in every relationship, but after each relationship ends, she ends up saying, oh yeah, they're just emotionally unavailable, they don't love me, they don't know how to love because of their past. Well, no, you're being clingy, and that's probably why they're running away from you. Or maybe every man that they meet approaches them based on how they're dressed, and they're walking around with low cleavage lines, high, very short skirts, or their back all out. When in reality, you can be sexy and not show any skin. Or if you want to be sexy, it's only like one thing at a time. Like, you're not wearing booty shorts. Well, you would never wear booty shorts anyway, but you're not wearing shorts or shorts that show your legs, or a shorter skirt and low cleavage line, back all out. That's just not classy. There's a tip. If you want to be sexy, just show one thing at a time, right? So if you can go like a strapless top, and then it can be longer to your knees, or you can wear a skirt above your knees and then you have everything covered up top, or you might be able to have everything covered, then you have a low back top. Or I don't suggest cleavage a lot, but I know there's a lot of women who are very busty, and like myself, let's say you have like a little deep cut here, everything else should be covered. You're not going to be showing breasts. That sounds bad to say. You shouldn't be showing your breasts, but you're not going to be showing all this area up here, then all your legs down below. But back to my point. So the men have approached her when she's showing a lot of skin. She has on a club dress outside, meaning she got spaghetti straps here, deep V-line that goes down here, or even down to below her, down to her midriff area. And she has just a short dress, or she has a skin tight leggings and a crop top bra, and it's showing everything. It's showing her behind, her hips. And of course, I'm not saying that you as a lady can't go out there and, that anything's wrong with your curves. Nothing wrong with that, but there's a way to present yourself. I'm not going to go into that on this video. Let me know if you want more information about that. But let's say the men are approaching her. The men that approach her when she's dressed like that are the men that she's ending up with. And I'm not saying that a good stand-up guy won't approach a woman like that. It depends on his age, but I'm going to say more than likely not. No. Because a stand-up man, I'm talking about a man that has certain morals and values, is going to prefer his woman dressed modestly. And I'm not talking about wearing a burqa. I'm not talking about being covered from the top down if that's not your culture, just your eyes showing. That's your culture, that's another thing. I'm talking about Western culture, okay? So, not to say that a stand-up man can't approach a woman that is scantily clad, but that is going to be very unlikely. he is going to be looking for a woman that is dressed appropriately, whatever that may be, and she's going to be dressed in such a way that she will be able to walk to a mall in that outfit. She will be able to walk into a restaurant, depending on what type of restaurant, obviously what the dress code is, and she will be able to walk into a school and not feel so out of place to a child's school. Let's say your back is out, maybe you just be able to put a sweater on, but what she's wearing, he should be able to feel like she would be okay not being catcalled based and men ogling at her body if he wasn't with her. If he wasn't walking with her, she wouldn't need a lot of protection if he wasn't with her. That's what I'm assuming a good stand-up man is going to be looking for. And I'm not saying a stand-up man is not going to look if a woman is exposed intentionally, right? Like, he's not going to intentionally maybe want to look, but I'm not going to say he's not going to glance if everything's showing. She has the tightest skin tight pants on. She's showing her back. Everything's open, low cut. If the woman has a nice shape, it's possible that the man might glance, but that's not going to be a woman that he's most likely going to want to approach and think that, okay, he's probably going to assume she's probably not Christian, so if that's what he's looking for, he's going to know that that's probably not a fit. So my point is, I was just bringing that up to say that could be an issue, right? You haven't dealt with certain issues. You haven't spent some time with yourself, learned to respect yourself, not in a bad way, because you may not even realize that that's not really respecting your body, but you're just exposing yourself. And I'm not talking about the beach, okay? If you're just exposing yourself in everyday life, you have to really think to yourself, is that low self-esteem? And yeah, you can have an amazing body, but if you're exposing it like that, that probably means you don't have the best self-esteem, because you would be protecting yourself, and it's almost like I believe you must know you're attracting something, right? I find it hard to believe that women don't realize that that's attracting certain attention to them, so you're potentially seeking attention from either men or women to look at your body or approach you. So if that's the case, that's saying that you potentially need to work on yourself. And you should absolutely be proud of your curves and your body if you've worked hard, or if you're naturally just have an amazing shape that's very attractive, or you've been working to eat well and exercise, and your shape looks awesome. You're like looking how you're supposed to look, how God designed you to be built. That is wonderful. You should be happy about that and proud. And because of that pride in your body, you should want to present yourself appropriately, to where your figure can look nice and everything, but not to where it's like you're attracting negative attention. And yes, that is considered negative attention if men are approaching you because of your body. So I think I talked about this in another video, but you shouldn't be taking pictures from behind. Like, look back at it to where your behind is in the front of the picture. That's not appropriate, and that's not going to help you find what you're looking for and what you want, the person that's going to treat you well. Honestly, when you're dressed like that, you're actually objectifying yourself, and then the men are also going to objectify you. They may think you have the dream body that they want, but when you expose yourself in that manner, they are going to objectify you, probably without even wanting to. It's just because you've already objectified yourself, as I've said, and they're looking at you as more of an object. But you're beautiful, eye candy, yes, but not so much thinking about what's in your mind. I might have mentioned this on another video before, but there were 3 men that I was dating before I got married, and or I should say before I became engaged. that doesn't sound right. It sounds almost like I was dating up until I got married. So I was dating 3 men before I eliminated the others and was only dating my husband. And there was one of the men, the first man that I ended up eliminating from the three was a man who, to me, I thought he had maybe a selfish tendency because of one thing that happened. I felt like he didn't remember what I had told him about what I was eating, my eating preferences at the time. Or how do you say it? When you, I don't know. Basically, I still am pescatarian, and I had told him what I eat, and the restaurant that we went to didn't have many options for me, so I just thought that was just one thing. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was that I felt that he was very into my appearance. He thought I was beautiful. He felt like, I think my appearance was like what he loved, like my look, my figure, my height. It was what he liked. And I think I had like a long weave, curly weave and everything. And basically my appearance was very into my appearance. And I could tell based on him not really caring about the conversation too much, or he tried to be nice. He asked how I was doing every day. We were speaking for a while, but the way he approached me, it seemed like he was into me physically. And of course, you want the man that you end up with to love you and your appearance, not based on your appearance. You want them to love the way you look. But one thing I've always said is that I would like the person that I end up with, I would always pray for this, I want the person that I end up with to love me from my heart above all else. And with that guy, I could tell that he was somebody that he would have married me. He wanted to marry me. He spoke about marriage, and he would have treated me well, but he liked me for my looks. And I don't know if that's in the Bible. I mean, I know it is, where the men they fall in love, they love the woman's look, they think she's beautiful. But that's not what I wanted for myself. I wanted a man who loved me, who cared about what I thought, cared about my heart, not just, oh, this is a good woman, she's Christian, she's kind, she's a nice lady, and that's all I need because she's the most beautiful, or she's one of the most beautiful women that I believe. Basically, I don't want somebody who just looks and says, oh, this woman is so beautiful, or I believe she's so beautiful, this is my type, and she's nice, she's kind-hearted, and she's a Christian. Check. No. I wanted to feel like a connection with someone. Like, I wanted to feel a heart connection. So yeah, maybe that's fine for somebody else, but you just want to make sure that you are presenting yourself appropriately. And then outside of that, just back to the main point of this video, you gotta work on yourself. You can't just focus on finding a partner. It's gonna take you longer to even get married and find the right person for you if you don't work on yourself. What's gonna happen is you're gonna be going around in circles, meeting men that are all the same. You haven't changed anything about yourself, so you're attracting and going towards men that remind you of your past. Maybe you had a negative living situation growing up, and negative environment in your home, and you're gonna constantly go to that. And because you haven't worked on yourself, those people are gonna constantly come to you. And not saying those people won't come to you if you are normal. I mean, sorry. Not sure I said normal. If you're not healed, but when you're healed, you're gonna be able to easily let those people go, easily reject them. You're not even gonna go on a date with those people. Okay, so focus on loving yourself, and loving yourself means not jumping from relationship to relationship. It's okay to be alone. It's wonderful to be alone. And I don't know if I went into it yet, but what I was trying to let you know, when I was with the person before I ended up dating my husband, before I ended up dating and I met those three men, the person that I had dated before that, I took some time to myself, worked on myself, and then when I was ready to go, motivated, and I was able to attract three men quickly that I believe were eligible bachelors for me to date for marriage. So once you're healed, that will just click for you. If you don't heal yourself, it's going to take you longer to find the person that God has for you. After I dated, I took some time with those 3 men. You can probably go back and find those videos where I talked about it a little bit. And I eliminated the first, okay? Then I eliminated the second. I wasn't too sure about that one. And then I finally officially eliminated that one. And then I had my husband. And that was not a long process. There was 3 people that I met. I eliminated the first 2 within the first 2 months. And I ended up getting married to my husband 10 months after that. So I was proposed to after I first started dating. I was proposed to after 5 months after the first date with my now husband, and I got married 7 months after that. So we actually got married on the 1-year anniversary of our first date. So if you don't heal yourself or work on yourself, even if you don't need healing, right? Work on yourself and better yourself, better your life. If you don't do that, it's going to take you so long to end up getting married. It's going to take you so long to find a good partner. You're going to be doing everything wrong. And I want to go back into that, but basically what's going to happen is you're going to end up finding different people, going to start a new one, and what might even happen is you might end up being with someone who you think is the one. So not even short ones, not even like, oh, done 3 months, that can happen too. It could be you end up with someone, you think you're so in love, you're with that person for 1, 2, 3 years, thinking that they're going to propose. It never happens. You end up moving in with them, having a baby by them, and then things don't work out. And you've extended your life. Even if you don't have a baby with them, you've extended the situation, going round and around and around and around. Then that is over. Maybe you didn't even have a baby by that person. That ends up being over. Then you're not looking for somebody else. Then that same thing happens. You end up in a long-term relationship. So you could have wasted 5 years of your life with 1 or 2 people or 5 years of your life with 10 people, just going back and forth. Or you take that time to be alone, 6 months or a year, and then after that, you're good to go and you can be married within a year. You'll be engaged within 6 months to a year. So is it worth it to heal? Is it worth it to, like I said, if you didn't need healing, that's okay. But working on yourself, you can't just be bouncing around to different people. Yeah. Okay. Do you really think the perfect person that you want in your life is going to be attracted to you, is going to be attracted to somebody who bounces around from relationships? Think about it. No, they're not. So you want to just focus on yourself, focus on what it is you have to do for yourself and not on other men. That's not going to help you. You need to be able to stand on your own before you're able to stand next to someone as a partner, as a spouse. Honestly, if you keep bouncing back around from relationships, that's actually weak, because that may show others that you can't stand on your own. So what that means is you'll be easily tempted, most likely, if somebody else if someone approached you one day when you're in a vulnerable situation, you probably will be tempted to cheat if you can't be alone. So think about that. You just focus on yourself. This is a good one. Focus on building a business. One thing about me is I always told myself, not always. I remember a point in time where when I wasn't married in my mid-20s, I was like, you know what? I remember saying this to myself. I'm like, I'm not married, so this is after I had finished my undergraduate degree and I was working in a job, and it was okay. People would have considered it a really good job, with good benefits. And I was like, you know what? This is not for me. I'm not married, so I need to consider my education. And I did. I pursued my master's. So if you are not married, focus on other things in life. Focus on advancing your life. I'm not saying that you have to continue with your education or anything like that, or college isn't for everyone. But if there's something that you want to do that requires a college degree, definitely pursue that. But don't get so caught up in focusing on a relationship, because while you're moving forward on the path, it can include academics. While you're moving forward on your career path, that is when you may end up finding that person that's for you. So just keep that in mind. God has an amazing plan for you, but you have to just let him in your heart, let him guide you. He wants to grow you. He wants to refine you until you become exactly who he called you to be. So who you are is not perfect. I have my rough edges. Everyone has their rough edges. But if you're just this hard rock, you are who you are, you don't want to change, you have that type of mentality, it's going to be difficult for God to, well, nothing's too hard for God, but it's going to be harder for him to connect with you. So just keep that in mind. God loves you. He wants to help you. And, I definitely just take this advice, take this from me, because, you definitely want to have a good relationship. And I talk about relationships, what I mean is your spouse. If I can go back in time and never have had a boyfriend before my life, I would definitely do that, So I encourage you to focus on yourself, find the right person for you. And if you end a relationship, or if someone ends a relationship with you, take that time for personal development, growth, career improvement. Take a training class, something that's going to allow you to focus on yourself and improving yourself in your life, because you can't just be sitting around here bouncing around from different men. And I know I said before, like, it doesn't even matter if you're not sleeping with the person, but especially if you're sleeping with the people, you need to work on yourself for sure, because that's not going to help you. That's not going to help your future. That's not going to make you mentally prepared for the person that God has for you. So, just be mindful of those things. Focus on yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. If you are into reading, find a self-development book, or start writing in a journal. Or if you want to write a book, start looking into ways that you can get that book rolling. And it's just so important. Focus on yourself. Like, once you're where you're supposed to be, that is going to be attractive to the man that's for you. If you have low self-esteem, or if you are exposing your body, if you are 600 pounds, you're probably not going to find the right person that's supposed to be for you. Because I'm being honest, think about who you want to be, and think about who you want to be with, or who you want to end up with. Or do you believe that they would want to be with someone that is 600 pounds? No, because that is not healthy, and it's not healthy. And this is not nothing to make you feel bad. It's just to focus on what you need to work on. So let's say you're someone who's very obese, morbidly obese, and you want a partner, and you go online. There's men that are approaching you. They want to talk to you. You need to understand that those men, unless they're similar to you, so if that's a case where you're both similar, okay, you guys can work on yourselves together, that's okay. But if these men look fit, these men are most likely not getting at you for the right reasons. That's why you need to work on yourself. They're looking probably to see if you have some extra income, looking to see if you have a home they can come into free of charge. They might be thinking that you may be potentially desperate for someone, or that they look so good in comparison to what they think you look like. So focus on yourself. If you're 600 pounds or something, talk to a doctor, see if you may need to go for a certain route. There's a nutritionist option, something like that, and you need to stick with it. Or if there's a route, it might be an addiction to food, you need to work on that, whatever that means, going to talk to someone. So you gotta just have to be careful, because some people may think, what do you mean the person needs to just accept me for how I am? Well, that's true and not true. God will always accept you for how you are. But think to yourself, it's not just about the appearance, it's mainly about your health. Because I think part of attraction, or not being attracted to somebody who is humongous. It's just our brain knowing that that's not healthy. You know, this brings me to a topic about Lizzo. That's somebody who needs to work on themselves. And it's very sad to me because when she's showing herself and she's part of the movement of body positivity, and okay, whether it's healthy or not, you know, we all know it's not, her size is not healthy, okay? But nothing wrong with that. She could be potentially be a lovely lady. She exposes her body so much that automatically lets us know that she has low self-esteem. The fact that she feels she needs to expose herself so much at her big age, showing off her body, showing off every inch, every stomach curve, and then later she'll go online and start crying. Those things, it shows us that she has lower self-esteem. And this is not to bash her in any way, shape, or form, but she cries on camera and stuff, and those things really affect her. The way people talk about her, and of course, I'm sure somebody who's very large, they consider themselves like, this is a movement. It's for me to show, like, hey, if somebody who's slim can do this, I can do it too. All right, that's besides the point. The point is, the slim people don't need to be exposing themselves. Big people don't need to be exposing themselves. And we know that exposure for a large person in our society is typically not looked at as attractive, because that body type is somebody who's maybe 400 pounds is not always looked at as attractive. So to have it exposed, you know, that could be a way for her to be like, hey, look at me, I'm okay the way I am as well. And of course, God loves her. There's nothing wrong with that. And in regards of being happy or being proud of you as a person, but that exposure of her body shows that she potentially is not feeling that great about herself, and that's evidenced by some of the videos and stuff that she's created about how she feels based on the comments, and how she's been trying to lose weight. She's been on diet, so that shows you that although she's saying, look at me, I look amazing, she's also trying to diet. So there's a reason behind that. Anyway, my point in talking about the size was, hey, people might say, well, look at me, I'm fine the way I am, I deserve a man just the way that I am, and I deserve a fine man. I'm not dating a man that's 600 pounds, even though I am. Well, just know that that man that is dating you has some sort of an issue. Not because you're large, but just because, regardless of what you say, someone who is 600 pounds that is not attractive, you can put yourself in a way that's attractive. So of course you can, okay, I won't say not attractive because that's not nice, but I'll say that's not the most attractive look, because it's very hard once you get that big to even see your features. So I don't want to stay on this topic too long, but if your face is so stretched out, you can't see your features, you have multiple pockets of fat underneath your chin, your body, let's say your body naturally, let's say you're supposed to be normally, the way God designed you is between 150 and 170, and now you're 600 pounds. Let's say your body naturally at 150 to 170 or 190, whatever it is a what is it, like a smaller waist, medium-sized hips, and medium-sized bust. And then at 600 pounds, your figure is a large waist, medium hips, medium bust. And the biggest part on you is now your stomach. So that's not how you were designed. That's what I want to focus on. The main point of me saying this is, you're not trying to get to where God has you. Like me, I've known, like, since I've gotten married, I'm not where I want to be. I'm working on it. I'm honestly about 10 pounds larger within 5 months, which is not good. So I'm going to work on that, and I have been working on it. My point is, you don't want, just focus on the positive. Focus on who God created you to be. Who does God want you to be? Does God want you to be 600 pounds? No. And you know why? Because that's not going to help you. If you have children, you're not going to be around long for them. You're going to have a lot of ailments, be in pain. You're going to start, what is it called? When you're edema in your legs. It's gonna be hard for your organs to function properly. The blood is not gonna be able to flow through your body. So hey, no, you're not supposed to be like that. And it's not to be disrespectful, but you have to face reality. So focus on yourself. And let's say you're not 600 pounds. Let's say you're 250, but you're like 5'1". Okay, work on yourself. That take a year, even 6 months. At the time I had lost 17 pounds in 30 days, but just by, I think I cut out, I'm not telling you to do this, but you can always go back and watch those videos. I want to do it again. I worked out at least 20 minutes of cardio a day, I worked out every day, and that mostly consisted of at least doing 20 minutes of cardio, or I would do a walk or something like that, and it would be like up to an hour or hour 10 on some days, but I would always do at least 20 minutes typically. There was I think like one day where I think I ended up doing a bunch of sit-ups instead, and then I also was eating healthily, and then I cut out all meat, in terms of like not even fish, and I was eating a lot of beans and vegetables and whole foods, pretty much foods that I think when I think about it, the foods I was eating was pretty much like the Daniel fast foods. So foods from the ground, healthy, things like that. I did that for 30 days and I was down 17 pounds, okay? So, like I was saying, if you're 250 and you're like 5'1", you would definitely be able to lose, probably, if you try to work out at least 4 days a week. It was just easier for me to do every day because, one, the results are faster, your body gets used to the exercise more quickly, and you can, what was I gonna say? And you'll be able to, I guess, lose the weight faster. So if you're like 5'1", 250, if you take at least 4 days a week exercise and doing cardio, and you eat appropriately for your size and your calories, and eat the right things, cut out maybe carbohydrates, no sugars, things of that nature, cut out meat, oh yeah, I cut out dairy for sure. If you do all those things, you will certainly be able to lose, at that height, minimum 15 pounds in 3 months. 6 months, in the 6 month mark, you probably would have lost 25. By a year, you certainly would have lost 50 pounds or more. So that's why I say, hey, and you're gonna feel more confident when you're at your correct size. When I exercise, in the past, like let's say it was a time before that where I was exercising a lot and doing a lot of weight training and stuff like that, even more recently when I was doing a lot of the cardio last year, you just feel more confident because your body can move better. You don't feel tired when you're walking up steps. You just feel better. And that's going to help you as well. It's going to help you present yourself appropriately in the world in terms of how you speak to people. You just feel great about yourself. I'm not saying I felt bad about myself big, but I'm somebody who always face the facts, right? So because I know that's how I'm not supposed to be, and right now I'm not supposed to be like this too, but I'm better than I was at that time when I was really heavy. And it's because you just know, like, this is not how I'm used to looking. This is not what I feel good at because I don't feel healthy. So I think for people it'll probably be easier for people who know it's not healthy and they don't think that it's a good thing. I think if you think that way, then you're already going in the right direction. But yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about. Do not hop from relationship to relationship because you need to work on yourself. There's a lot of men out there, but you're not going to attract the right one for you if you don't work on yourself. And same for men. You're going to be going up to women and they're not going to be into you because you haven't fully prepared yourself to find a wife. You are, let's say you're in a certain job now and you are making, I'm in a group actually, and it's all women. There was a woman, she mentioned that, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was something, where's I going with this? She said something like, something that I don't know. I completely lost. If I remember, I'll talk about it in the next video. But, just want to be prepared to make sure you're finding the right person. Make sure that you find, find the right person for you. You find the person that is going to honor you, respect you, love you, and that includes working on yourself. So that goes to men as well. I remember now. Basically, I was going to say from the men's perspective. There in the group, a lady mentioned how she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. The man that she's with was making minimum wage, and he's talking about wanting a family with her. She was never, I think she wanted children in the past, and now she wasn't sure whether or not she wanted children, because she said that him and his family really wants her to have kids. She's not married to him. I believe that was her fiance, and he makes less than minimum wage is what she said, and he wants children. So she wasn't sure how to go about this and if they should end things. And she makes more than him, and she was in a family growing up where her mother struggled. Her mom was a single mom, and she never wants to be in that situation. She said that their income is enough for them, but with a kid, it would not be adequate at all. So my first thing when I read that was, oh my gosh, what type of a man makes less than minimum wage and is now trying to pressure this woman to have kids? She makes more than him. Not saying that is wrong for her to make more than him, but how is a man making less than minimum wage? What is going on? That tells me that maybe he's working part-time or something. And she said that he's not ambitious, I think is what she said. He's like a more traditional person is what she said. So he wants kids and all that stuff. But my mind was like flabbergasted. What man is out here saying that he wants to have children, is focused on him having children right now, when he's making less than minimum wage? The woman's making more than him. So what's she gonna do when she ends up pregnant and has to stop working for a little bit? Or if she wants to take some time away for those first few months when she has a baby, if she has a baby. So women and men, just be careful. But that's what I'm saying in terms of the men is prepare yourself. How are you out here trying to engage a woman, trying to have kids with her, and you're making less than minimum wage? That is just not okay. So work on those things. So in terms of the man, I know I said I was going to talk about the man, but I don't think I have it in me for tonight. But men, just focus on yourself, focus on what it means to be a provider and protector for a woman. Work on those characteristics within yourself in terms of the protective factor. It's not all about, oh, well, I'm doing this, so you have to do this as a woman. No, practice and learn what it is to be a man. Same for women, learn what it is to be a woman. And men, you need to prepare yourself to lead a household. You can't lead a household in this day and age of making less than minimum wage. That's not going to, unless it's completely different if you're with a woman and you're already married and then you lose your jobs. That's completely different. I'm talking about men who might be single, and you're out here not having ambition. You're just living at home with your mom, not really preparing yourself to have a family. And of course there's certain situations where maybe a man is living at home, maybe the mom is living with him. That's different. But you got to prepare yourself and prepare to lead a household. And I know men are a little bit different. Sometimes they just hop from woman to woman and they're okay. No, that's not helpful as well. I know in terms of divorces, it's usually the woman that files for divorce. So men, they are always bouncing around to women, but not always bouncing around, but they can easily move from one person to the next. So that's also not good, because you're also wasting time. You're potentially destroying women, not destroying, but you're can be causing hurt and pain to women because of your actions, just using women to cover a wound. And the same goes to women. Men, I believe, can bounce back more easily if you are bouncing around with different men. But don't do that. You're wasting time. You're wasting time with the men. You're wasting time with yourself. You're damaging yourself. You're hurting yourself. That's the final thought I want to mention in terms of this. You are, ladies and men, when you hop around from different women, you're hurting those women. You're really damaging them. And ladies, when you hop around with different men, you're hurting yourself. You're damaging yourself mentally and spiritually. and this is just in general, you're wasting your time, you're building emotional bonds with people for no reason, and it's not going to help you in your future relationship when you do find a husband, or it may prevent you from even finding or having that husband find you. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please email me at the email that I have listed in the description, or please feel free to add a comment down below. And I love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments about this video, or if you have a specific dilemma, or you want me to expand on what I think about a certain topic, please send me an email about it, and I will definitely consider it for another video. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.